Yep.
Alrighty, cats are ready?
Yep.
Hello, everybody. We're going to call to order the Conservation Commission meeting on Tuesday, July 29th, 2025 at 4:30. I am Taryn McGregor.
Susan Gibbons.
Dorothy Findlay.
Carlos Salinas.
Wonderful. The first order of business is the applicant, David Russo.
Hi, Chuck Lee, representing David Rusa, and I have with me Steph Lemoyne from Pennsylvania Engineering to design a site plan. Essentially, what Mr. Rusa is doing is replacing his existing 5-bedroom house, which is an old rundown house located on a portion of the lot near the front where it doesn't meet any setbacks.
Yeah.
He's moving the house, moving it back, so as little down the lot as possible to meet zoning setbacks, and constructing a new 3-bedroom house, which will be connected to town sewer, to town water, and which only needs a special use permit because he wants to have an attached garage, so he doesn't have to walk out in the house. Yeah, the one brought in, and the person that I think that's what we did, let's see.
Awesome. Thank you. I have no qualms against this whatsoever. It was a quick read
Yeah.
for me. But if anyone else has any,
Yeah, I have no
Hey,
concern,
John.
but it makes sense that they just want to attach the garage, not to go outside. That's the only thing that's pushing this over the special use threshold.
Yeah, so I have no issue with it. There's no issue and wonderful preparation. Yeah.
Yeah, no objection.
Thank you.
awesome.
John, do you have any?
John's also just arrived. Under,
So should I make a motion then that?
Please.
we Put
Yeah,
forth a favorable
Advisory.
advisory.
yeah,
on
all in favor?
Well, we need a second.
All right, there's a structure to this.
So I do it from the.
Yep.
Okay, so I make a motion that we put forward a positive recommendation to the zoning board regarding the application for a special use permit under Article 3, Section 306E, Article 4, Section 406, to demolish the existing single-family dwelling and replace it with a single-family dwelling for David Rusa, Plat 10, Lot 6, Fire 411, Payne Road.
Second, much easier.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
That was easy.
Thank you.
You.
You want these back?
Those are mine.
Oh, those are yours, Amanda.
Well, no, actually, I represent Princeton Engineering.
Okay.
The site design, septic design.
Seth, was Hank your father?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Seth. That's Seth Moore. Hi. Haven't seen you in a long
I
time.
know, it's happy to be back working.
Yeah.
Staying in Princeton about.
Cool. Yeah, because I followed your father after he retired into his job. Yeah, so.
Great.
And now you're retired.
And now I'm retired.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Gosh, thanks for coming.
So the Conservation Commission is gonna call the State of Rhode Island and Block Island Water District, please.
I just passed Scotty Michelle, who also became a science teacher because of his father,
Mhm.
and he just came out to the island. So more history. If you guys are aware, I stood before you a year and a half ago about the water tank. So as you know, the Block Island Water Company, or the New Shoreham Water District, is doing a water capacity expansion project for a number of different reasons. One, there are many or upcoming failing private wells within the water district. We've been able to take on some over the last, I'd say, 5 years. There's one right now that's failing that we actually can't take, and we're waiting to get them online. As you know, there's some new development that might happen, and also there's some public projects that we want to move forward. The West Side housing project being one, the public safety building, that type of stuff. So the tank is finished and completed and online. That was kind of phase one. Phase two is the wells. So what now, 3 years ago, the state helped us, or the state purchased essentially about a 7-acre lot called the Schmidt property off of Payne Road. This was all purchased with Water Resources Board money. And the Land Trust and Nature Conservancy kind of pushed me there when I said, hey, there's some money here. Where do you want to do it? And they were very happy that we purchased this property, the 7-acre property. So currently, fast forward a few years, we got USDA funding to do these projects, this being one. We do have 2 wells actually drilled currently that are viable. We've done pump tests on these wells. And we have run underground piping back to the facility up to this property, as well as electric and communications. We're here today. This is all be completed. We're here today because we are asking for a special use permit to construct a 20 by 30 essentially well pump house building. This houses electrical components, so variable frequency drives. It houses a automatic transfer switch for a generator, which we need in case we lose power so we can still run our wells. Some mechanical and plumbing, meaning it'll have heat, it needs to have heat, air conditioning, and then some plumbing for the wells to actually come up, the water to come up and then back down and into the facility. So they kind of join there. And the reason being we need the special use permit is because it's residential A, and we don't essentially have a primary structure. We actually demolished the primary structure because it was falling apart. If you know the property, there's an old World War II tower on the property, which still stands. I was told not to try to demolish that because it's very difficult. But actually, I find it a pretty neat piece of history. And I'm hoping when I get done with this to try to keep it going. And it does need a little bit of help. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon either. So we're here because this is a utility use in a residential A zone. And that's what we went for. It's not a residence. It's not a single family dwelling. So the special use permit is for utility use, which, there's a few stipulations under that. One of them being that it fits in with the surroundings. And I think if you guys have the plans there, it's basically looks like a garage. It has doors and 2 fake windows, and it's sided with like hardy board, stuff like that, to look like cedar shingles as much as possible. I think it looks like a detached garage kind of size, and I think you guys would agree with me. So
When I looked at the plans, I
There you go.
didn't see the elevations really. Are they in? Maybe it was just because I was working on my phone.
yeah, yeah, sure.
There they are. Yeah, it does look like a little garage. These
I
are
have a
fake
couple
windows, you said?
questions.
Yeah, they're just faux window. We would have to put bars on them. If we put windows, we'd have to put bars for security and stuff, which we didn't want to do.
Does it emit any noise?
The actual building doesn't make any noise. The pumps and motors are 200 feet below the surface in the wells. It's a good question because the generator will make noise. But there are rules, and we deal with this at the water facility because we have a big generator there. We have a big diesel generator there, and it's all insulated, and it has to be under a certain amount of decibels, which they dealt with before my time. It was right before I came. This is a propane fired generator, which is quieter. It's kind of like a lawnmower kind of. But the generator that was spec'd out for the project will fall under that decibel rating for residential A. Yeah, that's a great question, actually.
So
Yeah.
that you don't anticipate any neighbors making a fuss?
I don't. It sounds like a lawnmower. It only runs when, let's say, the power's out. Yeah, it's not like it doesn't generate power for the station. Yeah.
So it doesn't.
No, it's just if we get a hurricane, if we lose power, planned power outages, or yeah, you did, yeah. So it's just emergency standby power only.
It's
But
7 acres up there, but the facility is sitting on what, 2 acres maybe?
no, a 20 by 30 building,
Okay.
it's
So-
tiny.
What's gonna happen to the rest of the property?
Great question. Right now, we're keeping, like, the previous owner kind of let it go. He used to mow it, and it's a beautiful property. And so he kind of let it go for a few years, and some like Russian olives started coming back, and and so we have been mowing it regularly, annually with kind of the TNC, the March schedule, like the late March, early April schedule. So we've been having Mikey Kiley go up there and mow. And then after he mows, when we have time, we'll cut some Russian olives down.
There's
And
red apple trees up there.
yeah, it's, and so the use is to use it for this, and, we're not,
Protect your dwelling. Is
Um,
there a chain fence around it?
no, it'll have a pretty nice door on it. We'll have a security system, but we also have like an entry system. But we'll also have like some cameras up. I have a camera up there now because there has been some, we have issues up there sometimes in the summer with some people wanting to go up and have fun at the tower or whatever. So. No, we have Mikey mow it annually, and then he's supposed to mow things, but usually the neighbors get to it before he can, which is kind of funny because they have a right of way through there.
Okay.
So either Scott or Ed Wyke usually mows it. What's that? Yeah, no, me too, right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the decision is always, do I want to maintain that, or do I just want to?
Busy.
Yeah, it's like, you just pay someone for once a year. It's not worth the expense of all that. So, but yeah, we just keep it mowed and keep it as is. That was the owner sold it to us. Like, the goal was to not have it developed, and that's why he wanted to sell to us, because he wanted to pass it along where it wasn't going to be changed or become a compound or a subdivision. Yes, it's essentially protected. The pump tests on the wells were very positive. We have a test well very close to the well that was drilled, the production well, I would say 50 feet away, and they're at the same depth. And when we pumped the well for 48 hours at about the same rate that it'd be pumped to go into the treatment facility, the well 50 feet away didn't see any change in depth. It didn't know that's how much water is below this island, is that it didn't, they put transducers down both, so you have graphs of it, and it just saw the tidal effects, it wasn't like that was drawing down. So that was crucial, because we want to make sure that we're not affecting the private wells around. And I think the thinking is that if it didn't affect a well 50 feet away, that it won't affect a shallower well. And we did hire a hydrogeology firm to get us through this process. It's not just me. Wright Pierce, we hired to get us through drilling and pump testing and everything. So they were overseeing all the activities and the data and all that. So, and because that's, on a conservation commission end, that's, sure, the surface is all, is going to hopefully have a 20 by 30 garage, a couple wellheads, but we are doing activities below the surface as well and drawing water. But it does not seem to affect much of, a well that's very close. And there is a residential well on the property that's farther away. And the second well for the home, it did also not affect that well. So we measured 2 wells while we pumped, and we did not see changes in those.
If the property had been sold privately and developed.
Oh, gosh.
you might have 5 or 6 private wells going in.
Yeah, yeah, you might have a fair amount or,
Instead of this.
we, we've been working with Land Trust and TNC as well. As you see, they own some of the Johnny Tug Hole area there, that subdivision and all that. And actually they were crucial in us getting the wells because we need wellhead protection easements on their property. So it's taking a while to get there, but we have assurances from them. I just need a final signed piece of paper and lawyers to do work that I ask them to. So we've been working with them essentially on this, and they are a crucial piece to us actually having the wells, because it's kind of crazy. You need wellhead protection easements on property that's already protected. And doesn't make a lot of sense, but the Department of Health wants to see our easements that we have control over those lots. So we've been working with both of those organizations to secure those easements. So they are very happy about what happened to this property. And I think it's been on their eye to purchase for a while, but obviously you can't get to everything. So
Question?
sure.
Did did the hydrogeology firm produce a report for y'all? Is it available?
We're still waiting on that.
Okay.
We do not have a final report. We have a rather large report from when they purchased the property.
Okay.
So I was able to assemble the same team. So the state hired Wright Pierce. Wright Pierce hired LaFramboise Well Drilling to do the test well. So to spend, a million, 1.3 million, they needed to drill a well and make sure that it was a viable site. So there's a big report from drilling that well that went to the Water Resources Board, that went to the State Properties Commission to justify the purchase of the site. Those wells are about 275, 280. Yeah, our wells at the facility are a little lower, but it's just from the fact that it's up on a hill. Yeah, that's a safe bet. But we did match the same elevation as our wells. That was the goal, even though you do below ground surface. So because we're basically on Pilot Hill and up by the tower is there for a reason. It's a great vantage point.
Right.
So we're way up on a hill up there compared. You actually look right over at the water tanks, almost even on some points of the property. So and those are about 30 feet high. So,
I guess what I'm getting at is, are we, do we have like a time horizon in terms of how long we have these water resources and, are we use them up and?
see, the goal of Black Iron Water Company, and and I don't want to go too far into a history lesson, but since 1887, when they were incorporated as a private company, they drew from Sands Pond, the surface water, and that's why we're located where we are. And then in 1994 or 96, I can never remember, we had a drought, and obviously the island was starting to wake up a little bit more. There's more homes, more businesses, and actually they pretty much dried up the pond. And then a pipe was actually put in a diesel generator. A few of you might remember it, from Sands Pond, and they laid a pipe from Fresh Pond to Sands Pond, and they pumped out Fresh Pond, and people were pretty upset about it because like, oh, you're going to ruin this pond too, right? So when that happened, it was like, all right, we got to figure something else out. And the employees at the time figured out we have these deeper wells. They're kind of high in iron, high in salts. And so they started researching reverse osmosis. So the goal of our facility at this point is to take water that, my house on the west side, most of you guys are on wells too, and take a resource that's essentially, you don't want to drink out of the tap. I mean, when the high school kids come up, I always go, you smell it, you want to drink this? They're like, because you can smell the iron in it. You can smell the minerals. If you could drink it and you'd be fine. You shouldn't drink it daily, but you'd certainly get your iron intake. But you can smell it. And the goal of our facility is to take kind of a non-potable resource and make it potable through reverse osmosis. And so we're considered a brackish water treatment facility. Yeah,
We're not in danger of diminishing that.
no, not with this, and not yet, but the goal is to go deeper than most residential wells and draw from something that we all aren't drinking. Our straws are deeper, and the water is not all that. You would need a serious treatment facility at your home to deal with the amount of iron and salts.
You'll hit fresh water about 140 feet anywhere around here. That's typical residential well.
Yeah. The wells around here are a little deeper. Yeah, the wells around these wells, there's some wells around the area that have a similar depth to them. But yeah, I mean, my well's at like 180, 190. So,
I guess I would just wonder, I'm assuming that it's not an infinitely available resource, that it has an end date to it in terms of the amount, especially with the increasing use of swimming pools. Now you see around the island, cars from the mainland that are here just to service swimming pools.
yes.
So-
But I
But
don't think we fill pools from our own aquifer usually, do we?
yeah,
Yeah.
the water company will fill pools only on the off season, or they'll fill from their own wells. And, and I think we got in this discussion last time, there's a misnomer about swimming pools. Yeah, and it's full. Yes, there's a misnomer about swimming pools. And if you guys, because at least on my end, it's not about what it's taking out of the aquifer. There's a lot of water here on this island. There's tons. Every time it rains an inch, I think it rains like 1 billion gallons on this island. Even if we keep a 16th of that water, it's more than we use in a year. And it stores it pretty well. We've got good volume, and you or I did a study recently. Volume's good. It's the swimming pool argument. You guys need to look at what they're putting back and where their waste is going and what's in the pool. I don't know all these things, but the concern more is not Black Island's aquifer on a quantity end. It's quality, and we don't want to poison it. And when everyone talks about swimming pools, they talk about, well, they're taking, just like you said, and that's not my concern as a water professional. My concern is when they overflow them, or where's the pipe going? Where's the out pipe? And what's in it and how much is going into it? Because I don't know, there's chemicals, I don't know. Some of them are just salt water, but you can poison an aquifer with salt too. Maybe it's not enough to do anything. I don't know. But when I've spoken to some other town officials about it and people get all concerned, I say, who cares? 30,000 gallons from our aquifer is nothing, or 20,000 gallons. That's really not all that much. They can burn up their well pumps all they want and replace them. It'll be fine, but it's what is going out is the concern of someone who, sometimes I consider myself the steward of the aquifer, and a lot of people ask me, I get tons of calls, but and there's some research to do on it. Maybe there's nothing in the pools. Maybe there's something terrible. I mean, we do swim in them, so it can't be too bad. Bromine. Yeah, bromine's the one thing. And what could that do? But I don't think it was a concern until there's a lot of pool, now there's more and more and more. And maybe if you have 1 or 2 in an area, but once you get 5, 6, 7, I have a few around me, but where's the outgoing? And if you guys ever get a pool thing, maybe you should ask, where does the wastewater go? What's the plan? Because believe me, I know, because I've poked around a few pools and seen them, but I don't know whether there's systems where you can retain that water and let things dissipate. I don't know the science behind it necessarily.
Personal memory is we had a swimming pool growing up. It was old, and we put HTH chlorine in it.
Yeah, the calcium. Yeah.
It would hurt your eye.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
it's terrible.
so toxic. And we pumped our water out into a pond.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was so beautiful. And the wildlife and the foliage and the everything.
and it's so that your runoff didn't bother
I
it.
didn't
No.
know.
Yeah, and there's ways to dechlorinate, you know, if it's a chlorinated pool, there's ways to dechlorinate and, you know, it's what the sewer plant has to do, you know. The sewer plant chlorinates and then before they put it in the ocean, it has to dechlorinate so you don't kill everything that's going out
It's
the.
like a question
know.
for the Brown students.
Yes, it'd be a great question for some Brown students. That's another, yes, there's someone getting one filled now, I think, recently that filled a pool. Yes, they just,
Really small, it's a lap pool.
Ellen.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
big.
yeah, a lot of the pools,
Today,
the splash pools, they call them or something. Yeah, the lap pool.
Now,
It's narrow and small, doesn't take up a
no,
lot.
they
of-
were filling it today because I had to, no, tomorrow they're filling.
I
it
heard about this, yeah.
Because I had to tell my renters that road's gonna close off while they do it.
Cause the truck's huge, yeah, yeah.
That tanker truck will be sitting at the end. of it.
Well, I'm a yes on all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this.
me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy to make a motion if we're.
Yeah, please
Okay,
do.
so let's see if I can do it from here.
I could talk about water all day, so just stop me.
We're so happy you're the steward of our office.
I try.
To make a motion that the Conservation Commission provide a positive advisory for the application by the Block Island Water District for a special use permit under section 306D to construct a structure to house the well pump control valves and water supplies.
Sweet.
I second
I
that.
second that.
Perfect.
Hi.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And
Thank you.
I kind of like coming here because there are other, you know, you got to get sidetracked on some other water issues, which is important. It's not always just what's on the surface. And I feel like the Conservation Commission should be aware of
Yes.
the aquifer is,
Something new every time. that
Yeah.
we-
the aquifer is so important. And even I had Bartlett Tree up asking about tick spraying and stuff.
Yeah,
And-
I've had a lot of people talk to me about that.
And-
And like, I don't think that's a good.
Yeah, I
idea.
keep talking about that and I, about people, you know, now wanting their fancier gardens and the fertilizers and things.
Fertilizers, yeah. No.
That we really have no control over.
Yeah, and the tick thing's interesting because ticks are affecting what I do on a daily basis or don't do really. It's a big problem right now. I can't, you know, your garden, they're in your garden. I can't even pick my blueberries. Yeah, they're terrible in gardens,
Because.
but
They're so bad this.
It's not even the deer's fault, it's the rat's fault.
yeah, the rats and the mice. But
There's.
that's, you know, those are the, you know, do we start spraying and what's in it? And I told these guys to go to town hall and I said, you know, I said, go to TNC. I said, go to town hall. I said, just don't, I said, you will get run off this island if you start spraying stuff that's toxic. And I said, it's a sole source aquifer. And I said, please don't just start spraying stuff, ask questions first, then start spraying stuff. Don't spray and then ask questions later.
Wouldn't it be great?
So-
Some way to reduce ticks.
Yeah.
It would be without, yeah,
Without poison.
yes.
But
Well,
Hmm?
anyway, all right. Well,
About that.
Don't wanna add houses to the island, look how well the year worked out.
the guinea hens I've heard too, but yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, then we have a bunch of wild guinea hens, yeah, so.
Just another species that has, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So,
They are really loud.
Yeah, they.
yeah, yeah,
Jump in the light and see the goal.
Well, I mean, we have so many pheasants and that's their prime, they eat insects.
Do pheasants eat
Yeah,
ticks?
lots
Yeah.
of them. And we have thousands and thousands of pheasants.
We do, tell me, yeah.
Yeah, they're everywhere, but it
They're-
just, I
they're-
mean,
we have a
we
lot
need
of-
foxes
There
to eat
seem
the
to be
mice. that
A
spread
lot
the
of pheasants
mice.
this summer because pheasants are dangerous with the horses because they come right up on
Oh,
me.
yes, they're very obnoxious, yes. Very expressive beings.
Thank you. They come out of nowhere. All right.
Thank you so much.
no problem,
Yes, thank you.
Sounds good.
no problems. So,
And take one, pass it down.
Here, come take this. I could follow directions.
you guys have a nice afternoon
You?
and thank you.
So,
Cool, good idea, fire.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no one who's more concerned about the integrity of our water than that man.
No, he's.
I'm
he's
very
really-
grateful
He's a
to
wonderful
be-
steward.
Yes,
He's
yeah.
a wonderful steward for the.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying,
These are the last.
less than a half hour for
Yeah.
him.
We nailed it.
That's good.
Yeah.
So are you ready for me to make a motion to accept the minutes from June 10th?
I haven't read yet.
Was a little light on the discussion part of what we decided on the checklist because I know the checklist is coming back.
Right, it's
So I didn't put every single detail that you spoke about with that. I tried to get, and because we kind of got
No, this.
we
kind of-
one and two together.
We weren't finished.
Right.
So we'll get.
What was that idea that you had for the Brown student just now?
It's not my idea.
No, not last time, this time.
This time,
Yeah.
I got an email from Nora Clark,
Uh-huh.
who's the climate person at TNC, you
Yeah.
know? And she's been contacted by Brown and I'll forward the email to you. The Brown students this fall are interested in doing a project related to native planting.
I already wrote it under future agenda ideas.
So,
Great.
Just so that way
it sounds
we can
like
talk about
They
it.
just were wondering if Conservation Commission would get involved in support of it, and it seems like a bit of a no-brainer.
Love to do
Right.
that. Like to
I
create
mean,
one or
I'll
to
send
study
it
one?
to you to be official, and then maybe you can send that email out to the rest.
Yeah,
That
I'd
we're
love
kind
to-
of
I'd
kind of
love to
that way,
raise-
right?
Karen, I think you're on that email too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send it first to you, Amanda. I'll do it
Yeah.
right now. I thought I already did, but maybe not.
Do you know if it was to create one or to study one?
What? What this says, I can read it if you want. It says, each year, the introductory class, the class is on human nature and the environment. And they break into groups, 15 students per group. They meet every week for an hour to work on a project requested by a community partner. So, this year, Nora brainstormed some ideas with them, and one thing they thought would be helpful would be a deep dive on native gardening landscaping on Block Island with some possible mini projects, including research on ordinances related to native plantings, low impact landscaping that could be compiled, research comparison to other island coastal municipalities, and creation of a public facing how-to guide, which we have already talked about, for planting or landscaping on Block Island that could be a flyer or on the TNCBI website.
Yep. Green flags all
So
around.
all of this sounds to
Awesome.
me like, yes, yes, please, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll forward it to you. You can forward it back to
Yeah.
me.
Because we want
Amanda, legally, do we need to meet to agree to reach out to them? No. So I could,
Because they emailed her,
what?
because they emailed.
Okay, all right. So if maybe you can just email Nora back after
Yeah.
you get this and say, yes, we want to work with them.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So I'll send it to you, Amanda, and then it can go back out to everybody.
And
That's
also,
probably the
aren't
easiest way.
we marinating on doing something in regards to the ordinances around native plants and invasive plants potentially as well? Moving forward, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, why are all these invasive plants still being sold and allowed to come through free? I'm not
Okay, it's
sure.
headed your way right now, Amanda.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Nora just knows me, so that's why she sent it to me.
Perfect.
However, we get the information is okay as long as we get it.
I thought, yeah,
Okay.
So minutes.
we're
We
at,
don't have a ban on watering or sprinkling from the island. I don't see anybody doing it. I'm just, curious.
No.
I'm
well,
sure
I-
in
I
other
see it.
towns They do.
I've seen it.
they're watering.
I see,
the
I
watering
see
at the
sprinkling
spring house.
during the rain.
Spring House and at the new Spring House Inn at the end of Beach Avenue. they're
yeah.
watering.
Yeah. There's a few people who
But that's
didn't
not
use
what
their
we were
sprinklers this
saying.
year that I'm proud of. They let
Did
their,
not?
they let their lawn
Water.
die like the rest of us.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
that's all you can do is
Yeah,
like, how you
yeah.
use your own water,
But yeah, they are
no
sprinkling
restriction.
up here.
Yeah.
but you can use stuff out of water.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in regard to your question, around swimming pools. It's the irrigation systems that are far worse than a swimming pool.
You should see the sprinklers that run during the rain.
Where?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
they,
yeah.
that is something that really makes me.
Yeah, I see
Yeah,
it.
physically,
I see it at the spring house.
Yeah, I do
It's
too.
raining with the sprinklers on. Yeah.
It's, yeah, we
Yeah,
need.
they're on
it-
timers
it's
and they
such-
just don't make a change, right? Yeah.
That's the thing, it's awareness and education is like the only thing that we can really do in regards to that.
That's true.
People are gonna do what they
Bring
want.
that. Very good,
Yeah, we can look into that.
Privilege.
But yeah, irrigation systems is just it's a process of just advocacy to plant native landscapes that are regenerative, that restore the soil health, so it harvests carbon and water out of the atmosphere and keeps the mycelial networks intact. And that's how your water is conserved. It's very simple.
Yeah, back in the day, people would collect water off the roof and put it into the cistern.
Right.
I mean, I still have a cistern at my house. You know, there's no way you can regulate something like that. It's,
Yeah, that would be a good thing to bring back, that system. right?
Cisterns
With
would
The
be
rain barrels
great.
and the cistern.
Rain barrels.
Rain barrels and
I was
cisterns.
just going to
You
mention.
have a
that.
rain barrel, right?
No,
No?
Nope.
Who has a rain barrel out there, Garden? Maybe it's Celeste.
yeah, but she did, she
Yeah.
would.
Okay. So should we go back
Well,
to the minutes?
Minutes.
When does it ever rain?
Yeah.
That's Thursday.
It's coming.
It'll rain on Thursday.
Everybody says Thursday.
Yeah.
I hope
we
so.
can mandate that.
Could use a good drink.
It must be raining on Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh,
please.
We can all do a
Outside.
dance.
Not till after the farmer's market.
Yeah, it's not gonna be tomorrow.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I have my rules.
There. Mother
So-
Nature, listen to Susan.
That's fair. Afternoon on Wednesday is all right.
So-
Okay, so I would like to make a
Hold on.
motion to.
Do you have questions about the minutes?
Oh, right, we're still in the minutes, right.
Yeah,
Yes.
go back to
Okay.
the minutes? Are we?
Yes.
We're good on the minutes.
We're big on the tangents today, which is okay, but we need to get back to the minutes.
Minutes
Agreed.
can be approved.
Yes,
Let's do that.
Okay.
yes.
You wanna do that?
Sure, that's what I'm trying to do. I think, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of June 10th.
Give me a second that.
A second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Brilliant. Moving on.
So now your job is to
So future
release us,
agenda
adjourn
items.
us.
Hold on.
Well, we have,
You skipped one.
we could talk
we skip
about,
Oh, right,
Yeah.
the admin process.
there's
research.
the
Right.
administrative process research.
Yep.
And then future agenda.
Oh,
I-
okay, sorry.
So my research has not gotten very far. I've not found any conservation commission so far. I've gone through 5 different towns that have an administrative process. So I've been looking up the process of what it would take for us to put in a new policy for the board.
Okay.
I-
What towns have you looked at? Like the Vineyard and Nantucket?
Rhode Island,
Okay.
because they're Massachusetts.
That's true.
I've been looking at Rhode Island, so South Kingstown, Newport, Bristol, Barrington, and then Providence.
Mhm.
I haven't seen any,
Diversity.
I haven't seen anything about an administrative process yet, but if you guys really want something that's not me calling a special meeting, we probably would have to put a policy in place, which I am looking up the steps for that, as I haven't gotten all the steps for that.
Okay.
I think it's worth considering, like today, I think we got off light. We had 2 very non-controversial applications. We all couldn't make it, fine.
Bless you.
Bless you. The reason I wanted to make sure it doesn't leave our radar screen is there could come a time when we are not available
Right.
and there is something ugly before us.
Mhm.
As ugly things tend to make their way when it's least convenient.
Right.
Yeah. they do.
So I think we need to make sure that we're ready for
Right.
that, should that,
No, that makes sense.
yeah.
So I am, I didn't realize that we could make policies until about 2 days ago. Like I didn't realize that was a thing. So I'm gonna get the information for that and it will be on September's agenda. And we can go forward from there.
Okay, good, right? And then September agenda will have the checklist on it too.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And there are going to be, I can tell you right now, there will be 2 applications on the September agenda. They We'll be going through zoning at that point. We just don't have we didn't have all the packets ready. So as soon as I get them, we'll make sure you get them. If you want me to call a meeting in August for that, I can, but our meeting is September 9th. I feel like it's early enough that we should be okay, but if anyone feels differently, I can schedule an August meeting if you want. But I felt like that was enough time. Because we're meeting so early.
How are we feeling? Thoughts? Comments?
About,
Additions?
well, future agenda items, something that we had discussed at the last meeting, possible collaboration with Coastal Resilience. And that event is happening on Monday, August 4th from 4 to 6 here. There'll be the GZA study people that will be presenting where they are in the process of Cornack Road, natural-based solutions to keep Cornack Road. And there will then be breakouts, and there'll be 4 or 5 different tables with different experts. I know Annette Greeley is going to be here and some other people. It'll be 4 or 5 tables thematically organized. So that first hour is GZA, the second hour is very informal. I think they'll have refreshments, they'll have some light food. And that's here from 4 to 6 on Monday, August 4th.
Right. I'm gonna put in my calendar, I'm gonna put it in my calendar, right? Okay, not that house for the company right now, but it's Sunday.
So for future agenda items, I put that down, because I know we talked about that the last meeting anyway. The checklist. We're working with Nora. Brown students is on there. I put sprinklers on there. And yep, irrigation systems, rain barrels, and cisterns, which I probably won't put those on September's. Because I don't, as of right now, we have 2 applications. I don't know if there will be more or not. And I think we should finish the checklist but we can put on the education, because we were splitting the checklist into 2. We can put potential, I don't want to say ordinances, because you could probably propose a new ordinance about all of that, but I think we should put that on there. Like the sprinklers and education about irrigation systems and sprinklers and. Right.
That fits right in
Mm-hmm.
water spaces. So, because I think we shouldn't lose sight of that full runoff question.
Right.
Seems really important.
I mean, it ties in with anything that has to do with toxic lipids.
Well, anything that would seep into the aquifer.
If you make it cool runoff, like you said, it's much more acceptable, I think, to people who think that we're against them filling their pools, okay?
Yeah, because.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's people have a pool, I mean. But they need to be treated sensibly and they should take care of something.
There could be a,
Okay, anything else on future agenda items?
about the pools, if you apply your chemical, what is it, once a week or whatever, leave the pool unchemicaled for 3 weeks or 2 weeks before you.
No, because then it'll just turn green and then you have to shock it. I
there's
think.
a lot of.
Why can't you
I
let the
think
water
is,
go?
you don't do, the water in the pool doesn't leave the pool until you're gonna close it down the end of the season, and then you've gotta draw it down just under the skimmer box.
Okay,
So you're not, if you've got a 40,000 gallon pool, you're probably withdrawing maybe 5,000 gallons
so
or
you're not
whatever.
gonna empty it.
So you're not emptying it. The only people who empty in them are people like Lisa Sprague who have that
inflatable.
Whatever that is. You know, but the other pool, so you're never taking it down, particularly an in-ground pool. You don't want it to heave out of the ground, so I mean,
Right,
you leave the
I
water
see.
in it.
Yep.
So there's not a tremendous amount of water that comes out of them.
Okay.
But you do have to maintain the chemicals, because I would argue it'd almost be worse to not do anything, because then you're gonna have to just,
It's worse to shock it
Yeah.
because the amount of chemicals you put in to shock it.
you know, you can keep like minimal chemicals in, because we had an above ground pool in New York, and we did have to, you know, when I threw it down in the winter, we just put the hose over and I put it back in the woods, and never had an issue. And I don't think that there's enough in those few thousand gallons to really have an effect on the aquifer. But it is something to keep in mind,
Yeah.
you know,
Learn about.
yeah. But I do think that the more serious issue are the pesticides and the fertilizers
Oh,
and,
sure.
you know, that kind of stuff is far more damaging to the environment than, you know, the.
Regardless of where it's coming from, for everything.
Right, but I don't think you've got a lot of the forever chemicals in the pools.
We had
Right.
Oh.
26 acre fruit farm back in New York. And for years, we put arsenic spray
I
on the
remember,
trees.
we had
And we
arsenic.
sold the farm. And the guy who bought it, it's never been developed because of the arsenic in the soil.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's still there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. Wow.
All right.
I-
That's okay, we're done.
I had a quick update. So y'all remember Katie Cass was here? So I talked to Millie. There's zero problem with her joining the commission.
Mhm.
So at this point, the only thing she has questions, Katie has questions about her availability, especially in the winter.
Mhm.
So that's the only reason, but she wants to keep coming to the meetings and,
Great.
yeah.
Are we, adjourning?
We need an emotion. Who seconded? Okay. Okay.
Yay.